Good evening, everybody. Gonna go live again with Spry. Waiting to make sure that I've got this coming through. We've got a little bit of a low battery tonight, so we'll get through our stuff remote, and then we'll get back onto over here where we can do questions tonight. I've got a couple things. I've got a couple notes tonight that I wanted to touch on. And then I can get plugged in when we do that. Now, you just heard her yip in the back. She's been quiet as could be. Again, the time change has got me running a little bit behind, I think. It's funny. I pick up the phone to start doing these, and she immediately lights up. So, I'm not surprised. Just had a message come through that I tried getting rid of, so apologize for that. Brian Pikarowski, Mike Mecca, Justin's in, Jeff Trudell. Greetings, everybody. Megan Smith joined. Megan, I thought you were on the road. So it's interesting how you just hear her start lighting up and barking. I really should go live next time without doing anything different. I should just sit here and work on the computer like I had been doing I got home about 8 o'clock. I ate, I fed the big dogs, and for the last 15 minutes I've been working on the computer. And so, welcome Brooke and Becca and Mike and Carrie and Amber and Anthony and Mark and Jeannie. Brooke is back. Hey, Hunter, Ryan. It's a lot of people signing in. Appreciate it, guys. Do me a favor, share the heck out of it. Tonight we're going to do something cool. We're going to make a retrieve. Cam Cutters is in. Kaylee Thompson's in. Mike's in. We're going to make some retrieves. I did it this morning. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, or maybe a lot of people did, surprisingly, for a morning one. But one of the things I'm really just sitting here for, boringly, is because the mouth over there just lit up. Wayne's in from Tennessee. Aaron, Jason, Aaron Garlock is in. Jennifer Schmidt is in. Where have the Schmidts been? I've been missing the Schmidts lately. Shaldag, Carl's in, Marty's in. Welcome, everybody. So do me a favor, share away on this. We had a real nice number last night. I gotta keep an eye. There's a game on. The Hawks are playing, so I gotta make sure I keep an eye on the score. Becca, Doug, Stephanie, Matt, welcome. This dog is just going nuts now. And for whatever reason that is, as soon as I start these, she knows. I don't think it's a coincidence. Daniel, Chris Borgman, Spencer Wasick joined in. Welcome, Spence. I haven't seen any fishing videos from Spence lately. Checking in from Missouri is Mike. Jeff Trudell shared away. Thank you guys for sharing. That's the way to grow the numbers on this. Now, you heard her whining and fussing, okay? I don't like that. I don't want to reward that. I got to figure out how to capture her quiet, because she really was nice and quiet for me for at least 30 minutes before we started this. And all of a sudden she knows we're going to get going and she gets fired up. Javon Gibson, I think Javon is new. Hello from Idaho. Welcome, Javon. Josh Harper shared, and I think Josh might be new. Craig Brown, good evening. Robert, good evening. Zach Johnson. Lots of new names, guys. Great work. So here's what we're going to do, because this is going to be, we've got some new people, and I'm going to, part of what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask some questions of you guys too, so stay on your toes. It might take more interaction from you tonight, especially if you're one of those ones that are just silent observers, but I really want to do an inventory on dogs, and I'm going to do this so that I'm not even paying attention to her and you can see her. I don't want to stand there and look at her, because I don't want to give her the attention that she was fussing and whining for. So, no. This one, she doesn't have an excuse. The little one, she's too small. She has to put her paws out. This one, I'm keeping her paws in until I call her out. This is a big step, guys. For those that are new, we didn't do this until a week ago. So we just started this. Thanks, Carson, for sharing. Shared it. Cody Miller, awesome. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start focusing on the dog a little bit and getting into this. But this morning we did some retrieving. We're going to do that again tonight. I'm going to do some more recall. I'm going to do some more sits and remote sits. I'm going to build them into the routine tonight without a lot of formality. It's going to be real loose. I'm not exactly sure. I'm just going to exercise things that she already knows how to do. For those that are new, understand when she had when I say she's got it, she knows these things. These are habits that she knows. It's taken a long time. I just started looking back on these. The 31st of January is the first one we did. So I don't know how many weeks that was, 5.5, going on 6 weeks to get to where we're at. It took steps all the way along. So don't think this happened overnight. And one of the things I'm going to do an inventory on is I want to know where I feel like we have a new group of people that are coming in, and I'm really losing touch with you guys as far as how old your dogs are. Because I've got a whole bunch of people that started with Spry at about the same age. So she's 13 weeks. She'll be 14 weeks this weekend. I got a whole bunch of people that I know and have gotten to know over the last couple of weeks that have puppies within a couple of weeks of her. And now I feel like we're getting a bunch of new people with new puppies, which is great. That's the point. But the problem is I'm getting new people with new puppies that are having problems because they're looking at Spry and going, oh, my dog's not doing that yet. How can I get it to that point? Well, you missed the beginning. It took 6 weeks to get to this point. Sounds like an awful long time. In reality, it went by like right now, like it went fast. So your next 6 weeks are going to go very fast. And if you lay down a good foundation, so I might have to start talking about some of the little stuff that we did before, is what I'm getting at. We might have to discuss some of the stuff and be repetitious with this so that the people that are just starting out get to this point in the next 5, 6, 7, 4 weeks, however long it takes, doesn't matter. But so this is a really nice extension of her sitting in the kennel. How I start this out, guys, is first thing I do is I take my dogs out. You can go to the bathroom. She's been in her kennel for about 45 minutes now, maybe a little longer. So I'm going to call her out by her name, Spry. Good girl. I'm going to bring her over here. We started this morning. Come on, little girl. Come here. Come here. Sit. Boy, is she coming out under control tonight. Now remember, guys, I got 2 dogs. Ellie's over there. Taylor's here. Spry is pretty businesslike tonight. It's a sign of maturity. She's growing up a little bit, by golly. But what I have to be sure of is understanding that she's going to lose this, and we're going to go ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. Now this part, guys, gets dark, okay? So I'm going to bring her out. Now I want her to sit, and I want to walk out first. We just started this in the last day. Spry. Good girl. Very good. Leader goes first. Now I'm going to let her out, and she's going to go to the bathroom. I know she's going to go to the bathroom because she always does. When she comes out of the kennel, she's going to the bathroom. So I'm going to let her go. I'm going to let her find her spot. This is where it's hard for you guys to see. It's much easier in the morning. I'll turn this around so you can see. She's peeing right now. Now what I'm going to do is I got to make sure. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. We've turned this into a game over the last couple weeks, guys. Good girl. Go back and watch. And I ran into a lot of struggles with this early on. She's getting so much better at it because sit. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Get her in the light a little bit. Sit. Good girl. This is probably the best start we've ever had, guys. Merrick Malak joined in. Welcome, Merrick. Best start we've ever had, guys. Okay? So she has come out and really hasn't made much of a mistake. I open the door. I come in. Spry. Here she comes. Now, she's notorious for a hot lap around the kitchen. Hot lap around the living room. Here, 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 here. Come here. Sit. Right in and control. Now, here's a broken record. Look who went from her place into the kennel. Who just assumed I leave the room, she's going in there. I'm not sure why she's doing that, guys. I have to catch her doing it. Because she did it to me this morning, the exact same routine. So I'm going to take her. Now, this will be a big test. So remember I said I'm going to do some improv stuff that I don't really have planned. Well, this is not something I had planned. I didn't expect Ellie to do this again. I'm going to put this pup on a sit, and I'm going to call Ellie past her. And I don't know if she'll be able to do it, but I do know that she's got a pretty strong remote sit, and I do know that she's paying pretty good attention to me, and I do know that we've had a lot of success with it lately. Here's a new distraction. Ellie, come on. Ellie. Ellie. Huge passing of that test. Good. Ellie, place. Ellie's got to get on her place, and she's got to learn that when I go outside to take the pup for the bathroom, that doesn't bend, the rules don't change. Very nice, little girl. Sit. Sit. Now, one thing I've noticed, and I mentioned it, there's a certain time frame that I really think dogs start really getting going. Now, look at her nose. Look at her nose. Guys, dogs' noses aren't very good, right? There's her food. She knows exactly where that food is based on her nose. She can't see it. She's over here and she's got her nose straight up in the air. She knows exactly where that food is. Power of the nose is incredible. We're going to do a hunt command tonight so I can show, because there's a lot of new people. I want to show that hunt command, because the hunt command is something you guys can start with them pretty early. We didn't. I don't know that we did a hunt command before maybe 11 weeks, something like that. So it's only been 2 weeks with it. But let me, Goal Montreal. Uh-oh. I'm getting my notifications on my phone here on the score. So it's got to be 3-1 now. Sit. Sit. So here's a distraction. I talked about it earlier today. I am distracted in my dog training because I'm trying to film it. It makes it very difficult, guys. Great numbers right now. Share away if you would, guys, because this is how we're going to get the numbers growing, more interaction. This is the time for you guys to ask questions. Once I get into this, I don't pay attention to questions until the end, and I come back and answer a lot of questions. So great little nose working right now. Her distraction is the food, not me. She's not focused on me. Well, why should she be focused on me? I'm worried about talking to you guys on the phone, and I'm more worried about what the score of the Blackhawks game is than this training. This is that message that I thought was really interesting that Chris Smith brought to my attention earlier late last week. And I talked about it this morning in our live. I talked about how when you guys get started doing this, I'm asking people to send me some videos so I can help them. I'm asking people to explain their problems to me so I can help them, and show me some on the, send me a little clip. It helps me greatly. I can really pick it apart and I can start to understand your problems. The problem that I have is, if I get you guys to start trying to film these things, I think you're going to have your hands full, because I have my hands full. It's hard for this dog to connect to me when I'm sitting here busy talking on a phone, trying to video this stuff. So get good at it first, then we'll start doing the filming. So I want to put that out there, because right now I have to focus myself. Good girl. Good. So I'm going to get her off of that little remote sit. I'm going to call her back. Come here, come on. See that nice sit? See that nice little reaction to the tone? 2-3 weeks ago, that dog would have went flying by me and ran a hot lap around there. There's no way I could have done this with the dogs in the room. In fact, I used to have to build a wall here to keep the dog in the room. Now, I can call, I'm not going to call her off sit. I'm going to go back to her. I'm going to recall her, or call her off of her place with a little, come on, big girl. I'm going to give her a chance to get into trouble. I'm going to give her a chance, I'm going to give her a chance to go through the house. I'm going to go over here myself. I might just happen to check the score while I'm over here. Come on. Come on. There's a distraction. Can I get her off of it? Now, this is that part that I don't like about the bed. Sit. Sit. I'm going to pick her up off of it. Here's a good one. Sit. So, what the problem I have with that is when she jumps up on the bed, now all of a sudden if she jumps off, she starts eroding what we worked so hard for on place training. Place training is key to us. We work on it so hard early on, and we make sure we're solid with it. Sit. So I got a little bold, and I decided, I'm going to work her through the house with the dogs. And I found out real quick she's not ready for it. So I'm going to adjust to it. Come here. Good girl. Sit. 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 Very nice. Very good. Now we've started working on heel with her. I'm not going to do heel tonight. Instead, come here. Instead, I'm going to get the stand here set up. Let me, so I can see what we're doing. We're going to retrieve. I put it in there. I put it in. Come here. So I used to have no control of her when she was off of place. Now, come here. Come here. Sit. Sit. I might have to get firm with her at times with my tone to get what I want. But that's me gauging that and being able to determine when do I got to pick up the tone a little bit. I don't have to get very harsh with this dog to get results. Sit. She's developing a little bit of a creep. I'm going to have to fix that. Notice how she's butt scooting. No. Sit. I don't want to get too hard with her before this, because this is a big thing. We're going to do these retrieves that we've struggled with so much. And I've tried to figure out the combination. How do I get this puppy unlocked? Now, we started heel work with her. I'm going to tip this up and explain why we're doing it, what we're doing, why we're doing it. I'm going to make some simple retrieves with her today. I'm not a big fan of check cords. I think check cords are like Band-Aids. Dogs get real smart to them. I want dogs that I can handle without a check cord. So if I do my work ahead of time and I do it well, I usually can get away with it. Now, my pup was struggling not on recall, but my pup was struggling on retrieves. And go back to when she was about 9 weeks old or 10 weeks old, I went through some real struggles. Then at about 11 weeks old or 12 weeks old, we made a retrieve, and it was really nice. We caught it, we filmed it. We did it about 2 or 3 times. Then I went back to struggling with her, and I'm really having an issue. I just can't get her to do it. So all along we've been working on the foundation, which is heel, sit, stay, come when I call you, those foundational things. We just started on heel work recently. I'm going to say it's been a week. And she's learned to give the pressure to the neck. She heels better than any dog I've ever had this age, this short into doing it. She's given to the pressure better than any dog. She doesn't even whine. She doesn't fuss. I tie her out. She doesn't fight it. She doesn't whine. Now, I'm going to tip it down because she's doing a really nice job on her remote sit. So this is pushing our length with it. But because she's given the pressure to the neck, I decided last night, we talked about using different leashes for tracking dogs so that they understand that they can get out and get in front of me. So I changed the leash altogether. In fact, I go with a body harness. I like that because I think it's very clear for my dog to understand when that's on, they can get out and work. When that's not on, when it's just a collar, a flat collar or a slip collar, in a leash, 4 foot, 6 foot, whatever we're using, she's got to get in heel position. So go back a couple days and watch us heel with her. She's really good at it. So as soon as I put a little pressure to her neck, she gets right back to heel. So what I thought about last night, someone asked the question about when they put their leash on their dog's a tracking dog and wants to really go, so they really have a hard time. Well, first off, you have to change the leashes or change the setup. Only wear the harness when you're tracking, whatever it is, but that's a different subject. But what I realized thinking about that last night was she gives to the pressure so well to the neck. What if I just put this little light cord on her and act it like a check cord, okay? I don't use check cords. I've never trained a dog to retrieve the check cord before. Never had to, because they always just did it. This one's not. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this little flat collar on that we've been using for heel. This little lead that really isn't a lead. It's got very little weight to it. She hardly knows it's on, okay? Now what I'm going to do is get this antler dummy. So this morning I used this is where the camera thing does not help. Come here. I gotta get this where you can see it. All I want to do, no. Now I get down on the ground, which I'm not real comfortable with her. I don't like doing that because it gives her an opportunity to try to test her dominance. Put her paws up on me. I don't like that. But what I am going to do is I don't want to be so firm that it makes this difficult. I don't want her hesitant at all. Sit. Spry. I'm going to let her pick that up because I know she can. And as soon as she does, see how she's trying to figure out how to pick it up? Good. As soon as she's got it, come on. Good girl. Come on. Little tug. See that? Just one little tug. Very good. It took one little tug. Sit. But I had to be real careful with my timing on it. Sit. So I don't want to turn this into a wrestling match with her. So I don't want the cord to catch the bumper and pull it out funny on her either. So she's pretty excited right now. She's fighting it and being controlled. Spry. Good girl. Come on. I gotta get her to pick it up clean first. Good. Problem with it is we're getting it tangled in the rope. Good. Come on. Good girl. Very good. This is a little more clumsy and awkward. I'm going to go back to the puppy bumper. And I really just want to get one nice clean one. And I'm going to scoot back just a little bit. Sit. This will be easier, I think, because the rope won't tangle into it as much. Spry. Good girl. She can pick it cleaner. Good. Here. Come on. Good girl. I got to praise her for bringing it back in. Good girl. I'm not going to take it from her quickly. Too much pulling right now. I don't want that. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. Hold there. Very good. There's a good finish right there. Just got it holding it nicely in my lap. Good girl. I want one more good one. Come here. Now, that one was a little much for pulling. I don't want to have to pull them in. I want to tap her. Sit. Sit. If she loses her focus, sit. I won't hesitate to correct it. Because the more she gets spun up, the more she gets spun up, the more she gets spun up, I think it's just in and out of her head. I really want her to think about this. I want to make one retrieve. Nice one. And so all I'm trying to do is get a little tap to the neck and get her to come back to me. Good. I want to get her to pick it up clean. Good girl, come on. Come on. Come on. I give her a chance to bring it back. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There's a tap. Come on. Good girl. Very good. And I want to get her right over here. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. Good girl. And I'm going to share it with her. I'm not going to turn this into hurry up and give it to me. I'm going to praise her with it. Very good. She's still holding. Hold. Good girl. Good. Good. Yeah. Good girl. Now I'm going to try one more because I think part of the problem too is my legs are in the way. She's hesitant to go over my legs because that becomes a dominance thing. She doesn't want to dominate me. I'm working so darn hard for her to not dominate me. There she sets really nice. And she's totally anticipating this retrieve. Sit. Sit. So what I'm really trying to do is get her used to the idea of come back, hurry up, get it back to him, he'll do it again. I don't want her to go, I don't know if I want to go back because he's going to take it away from me. I'll share it with her and tell her how good she is. Good girl. Come on. There. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Good girl. Come here. Good girl. Good girl. Come on. No, no, come on. Now, good girl. No, come here. Come on. I got to get this cleaner. Good girl. Very good. And you can't see it very good. You can't see it very good, but this is what I got. Hold. Good girl. Good girl. Did. Very good. That's it. That's all I'm going to do tonight. Tonight wasn't as good as this morning. But I'm still going to say it was success because we had a few. We got a few. Now, I'm going to take this lead off of her. And I'm actually going to I'm going to get a little heel work in with her. And then we're going to get her done for the night. So I'm going to pull this little cord off. So you can blow that up with thumbs. Yeah, huge step. I probably sound flat right now. Sit. Good. I probably sound flat right now because you know what? I expected it to be a lot better. Watch this morning's. This morning's was really good. And so tonight I went, this is going to be great. We're going to have a bigger crowd. People are going to see that she's actually retrieving pretty good now. I expected improvement. So I think what I have to do is at this point tell myself, practice what you preach. Have realistic expectations. Am I going to be able to train this dog to be a great retriever in 2 sessions? No, because it's taken me several weeks to get a retrieve. So instead of feeling sorry for myself and going, oh, geez, she didn't do as good as I hoped. Way more people watched tonight. I should be saying, hell yeah, she made 2 retrieves. And it wasn't that bad. And I didn't have to fight it that hard. And so there was a lot of good things there that it'll take me a while to realize. But I'm competitive, guys. I don't like being beat. I don't like getting beat by 12-week-old puppies. But I also am realistic and I realize that this is not something that's going to happen overnight. Uh-oh, Hawks scored. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put her on lead. And to be honest with you, I kind of can... Spry, heel. I can kind of sense her disappointment in me. Sit. Now this is going to make me feel a lot better because she's extremely good at this. So I'm adding this on because I'm doing it for myself. I'm going to start feeling better about what we're doing here. But I'm going to get her to heel just a little bit, and then I'm going to feed her. Spry, heel. Come on. Notice the lead is real loose. Notice how she's turning with me. Like, this is where I say she's hooking in with me. She's really connecting. I don't have to steer her at all. Good girl. Good girl. Come on. Because she's going a little slow. Come on. Sit. Very good. Very good. Because I'm not steering her at all. I'm not bumping her. I'm not doing anything. The reason I'm not doing it is because she's not asking. She doesn't need to right now. What was really nice, what was good about the retrieving, and the reason I went to retrieving with that little light line, which really that light line is nothing more than a drag line that we use for game recovery. That's what I laid trails with. That comes in the kit. So I just used it because it's super light. This has weight. She feels this. She feels that she's connected to me. This is the start of us connecting during heel work. But that doesn't. That has very little weight. She doesn't hardly know what's even on her. But the reaction when she feels the pressure to the neck, see that? She felt that little bit she was sniffing, getting distracted. I gave her just a tap to the neck with a flat collar. And look at her attention right now. So what I'm doing is I'm realizing that I can get that out of her right now with the lead work. Because we've done it for about a week, and prior to that, we tied out for about a week. So if you guys are new to this, go back and see all this stuff. It just doesn't just start like this. I had to do a bunch of stuff on the foundation to build it up to where we're at. We're going to get a lot bigger, but it's going to take us building the foundation wider and wider and more solid. But why I can get her to react to me on that retrieve over there is because she's got it in her head now. When she feels a tap to the neck, come back to me. Come back to me. Turn that pressure off. Come back to me. So I don't even have to put pressure on her neck. Come on. Come on. Very loose. Look at the lead. Watch the lead. It's a U. It's super loose. Sit. Beautiful. I'm ending it there. Now, the last trick for the show tonight is the same thing we've done from day one. So if you're new to this and you're going, ooh, I don't know how he ends it, well, then you're really new to this because we always end it with feeding. But we end it with steadiness. We end it with being calm. We started out by holding on to the puppy. Now I end it with remote sits. And I end it with distractions and time. And I also, from the beginning, have incorporated the idea of I give you the food, I take the food away. Dog's going to understand who the leader is in here. So this is where all the leader stuff, all the pack stuff develops so quickly, so easily. Because the day you bring the pup home, I've got someone. I'm hoping Nicole is watching, Nicole Larson, because she's on my list tonight. But she just got a puppy, so I'm hoping she's watching this. But really, I'm hoping she watches 5 weeks ago first, because she's got a 7-week-old puppy, and when I started filming these, I had a 7-week-old puppy. It was a far cry from where this 13-week-old puppy is. In a really short time. 6 weeks is going to go by like this, guys. And if you don't do any work in those next 6 weeks, you won't be any further ahead. I have not done anything that was insurmountable. I haven't done anything that was mind-boggling or blown. I did a bunch of tiny baby steps. Because day to day, I didn't even notice the difference. But I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to go back because I got a really good recommendation today, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm going to be going back, and I already started going back. And I looked at it, and I kind of laughed at myself, and I went, "Wow, we've come a long way in a really short period of time." It's baby steps. It's incremental training. It's building, adding layers, and it's come from consistency. I wouldn't even have thought about putting this dog on remote sit for the last 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I don't think twice about it right now. Like to me, that's the internal clock in my head goes, I still think she's good. I probably got another minute out of her. Used to be a matter of seconds was the internal clock in my head. So I'm going to reset her. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come here. Come on. Come on. Sit. I'm going to wait. I'm going to line her up. I mean, to me now, this stuff just comes natural because I'm not forcing anything. It's just coming to her too. It's very natural to her. So it allows for me to do things just way more fluid when it comes to this part. The parts that were very sticky and awkward for me tonight were over in that corner with the retrieve. because that was uncomfortable and it didn't go very well. And if you look when I've had retrieving in the past, it's been 10,000 times worse, and it became really uncomfortable and really awkward. But I also, when I first started feeding the dog, it was really uncomfortable and really awkward. It was really uncomfortable and really awkward when I tried to get her to go on the ground and not run around my house like a mad dog, just crazy. The reason I stopped that early was because if I had allowed it to happen, that would be the habit that was formed. You can form bad habits just as quick as good ones, maybe faster. So we have to be extremely careful. We're not training stuff in today that we got to train out later. I've tried to avoid bad habits and we've gotten here. But the funny thing is I'm going to look back in 2 or 3 weeks at that little fumbling around in the corner tonight with a lead and trying to get a puppy to make a retrieve, and oh, I can't use the training dummy because it gets tangled in the rope and uncomfortable and awkward and just doesn't, I don't feel good about it right now. I'm going to look back in a couple weeks, I'm going to laugh and go, see how stupid I felt? How dumb I was to think, God, this sucks, this is not very good, and I expected to. Hey, when it happens, it's going to happen. That's what I have to keep telling myself. And then I have to believe it. You can tell yourself all you want. If you don't believe it, it won't happen. Look how long this dog's been on remote sit. And steady. And calm. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Let me line this little pup up and I'm going to feed her. Notice those eyes. And there's a big reward for her. She gets to eat. Now, I'll let her eat a little bit, then I go down and I'll pick it up. This has been ongoing. We've done this for a long time. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to start over. Come on. Sit. I'm going to bring it over here. This is one thing. I've seen a lot of people send me videos with feeding, which I love because I know a lot of you guys are doing it. It's perfect. It's essential. You need to do it. What I don't like is most of the people that have problems with food aggression, I see people coming up to the dog when it's eating and just praising it, loving it up, and almost testing it. I saw one gal put her hand in the food like, will you bite me or won't you bite me? That's like the puppies that nip and bite at us. Get your hands out of the way and they won't nip and bite. Don't allow it. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you, instead of coming up to her and loving her up and praising her when she's eating, thinking that I'm working on her food aggression, I think I'm just fueling the fire if that's an issue. Because the leader gets groomed by subordinates. The leader eats first. So if your dog's sitting there eating and you're coming up and petting them is a sign of submission. I'm running out of battery, so I got to speed it up. So don't go up there and love them up. Jennifer was doing this in her video, and I said, don't stop loving that dog up, especially when it's growling at you. If it's sitting down there growling at you and you're petting it and loving it up, you're just saying, I'm sorry, don't bite me. No. You're going to reach down and you're going to take the food away confidently. Now, if you do this early on, you shouldn't have these food aggression problems. If you already have them, we talked about some of those fixes. So if you're new to this and you didn't see it, we had a live call-in with Jennifer last week, Monday, a week ago. We talked about it. We're going to do some calling in this week too. So now, nice remote sit, good eyes. Keeping her honest. I don't send her every time I put my hand down. I don't send her on the second time. I'm just keeping her honest. Spry. I send her on her knee. That'll be it. Then I'm going to grab a bed quick. So I am gonna, you can hear her, I am watering her food down still, guys. For anyone who's new, I water the food down. Part of the reason why we do this is because it allows for her to understand she's gonna eat quickly. Watering the food down gives her a drink of water, gets her, I have a hard time getting pups to drink water at times, just straight water. So by watering it down, I keep her hydrated, but I also get her to understand that she's gotta eat quickly. If she doesn't eat all this in a short period of time, I pick it up. And she starts to learn real quick, I've got a window of opportunity to eat. If I don't eat quickly, I'm going to be hungry. The reason we do that is because, so soft food makes it very easy for these little puppies. She's got nice teeth now. She can chew pretty good. She probably could eat the food dry if I wanted her to. The reason I water it down is because when they're little, it makes it easy for them to eat it quickly. And remember, I travel with the dogs a lot. I don't have time to give each dog a half hour to eat. I don't have time for a dog to eat 3 bites and then go sit down and want to fool around with something and play with this and eat when we just don't have time. So I got to get this dog to understand I got a window of opportunity to eat. And when that window is up, that time limit is up, he takes the food away. So a lot of people say, well, they didn't eat very much. Well, then take it away. Because next time they'll be hungry. And if they do it again next time, you know what? You know why they're doing it? Because a habit's been formed. It's the wrong habit. So we got to start changing habits. It's a complete culture change when your dog comes home to your house. And the culture that you put it in is going to influence it for the rest of its life. You're going to put stuff in these little puppies that's going to stick forever. So make sure it's good, okay? So I'm going to start going through. This is a good time for me to go through. Anyone who's new, I like to get started, do this little session, and then I like to go through and read who's got questions. So first off, I'm going to start scrolling back, so be patient with me. I also have a few notes that I'm going to talk about tonight. So you guys can watch her eat. Everyone was signing in, and I appreciate you guys doing that. I want to thank you guys for sharing. This is, again, another real strong number tonight. We want to continue to grow it. I think lives, the value of lives is this. I could record all these things, and I could put them on here, and a lot of people do. The problem is if I did that, you wouldn't see the bad stuff, because that would hit the ground. We wouldn't show that part. The nice part about lives is it's real, and there's going to be a lot of issues. And how do we deal with them? Tonight, I don't know that there are major issues, but I certainly wouldn't have, if I wasn't doing it in this format, I probably wouldn't have showed tonight's retrieves. I'd wait a couple days till it got good, and then I'd show it to you. And you go, oh man, his dogs do it really well, and mine don't. How come? Well, it's because my dog didn't do it very well in the beginning. I had to figure out how to get him to do it. So that's the value of live. The other reason is, you guys are actually watching, you guys are able to interact with me. I love the idea of you guys being able to make comments, ask questions. So if you video it and you just watch it, it's a lot harder to get the questions, the comments. It's a lot harder for me to go back and answer them. So great time. So there's a nice quick little eating. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Very good. Get up. Get up. Get up. Now I'm trying to get her to start placing herself. Good girl. Sit. And we're back to place, which is the cornerstone of what we start out, what we really pound in. Now I'm going to plug in here that I'm more permanent. I see someone's answering some questions on the bottom that pop up. And that's the best part about this. That's the other reason why it's nice to be live. In order to go live, I think we have to be consistent. I've tried to be as consistent as I can with this. There are some days that we're just not able to do it, but as a rule, I think we've done it a minimum of just about every day, sometimes 3-4 times a day when important stuff comes up. So a lot of new people, and that's great. We want to continue that. The great part about it is I've got so many people that have been so loyal from the beginning. They can answer a lot of the questions that come up repetitive. I don't care if questions come up repetitive. It tells me there's more people, there's new people, and if we can impact, I don't care if the number's 10, 100, or 1,000 watching this. If we change and help one person, it's worth it. And I know we have, because just by doing the seminars and that, we've had enough people come up to us and go, man, these are really good, these work. So we're going to keep that going, but I'm going to ask you guys to help us grow it. So I'm going to start going through. Megan Smith was leaving Milwaukee. They're on their way down to a workshop in Mississippi. They're going to have a good time there. Good evening, Jason Erickson. Hello, Jeremy from Portland, Tennessee. That was Wayne. We got there. Aaron Garlock, Jennifer Schmidt was in. I Hope with the Family. Shaldag was in. Marty, Becca, Doug, Stephanie, Matt. Hey from Kansas, Carson. Some new names, guys. I love this. Someone's not very happy tonight. Yeah, Stephanie, she struggled to start out with. This little puppy got a little bit fussy and it's because it's a conditioned response that I've created. When I start picking this phone up and talking to it, she goes, oh, here we go. And she wants to go. So I have to get her to settle in. She was real settled in before, and I'm going to try to show that next time I do this. So, good evening from Iowa is Danielle. Spencer was in. Checking in from mid-Missouri. Some shares going on. The St. Cloud crowd was in. Montana checked in. Gosh, great work, guys. I got a couple questions for you. I should ask it right now. Javon, Josh, Brooke, Jeff, Carson, Cody, Mark. Here's my question, because we've got so many new people, or several new people at least. I want to know your ages of your dogs, because I know there's several of them that we've talked with and talked about specifically, and I've gotten to know and memorize your dogs as far as the age and stuff. But if you do me a favor, answer what your dog's ages are so that I can go back even after and get a better feel. Whenever I start a seminar, I have to find out what am I dealing with from a crowd. It helps me read the room, helps me get a better understanding on where to go, but I also need to be reminded in these, because sometimes I think everyone understands where we're at because I've been through this whole process and I feel like everyone's been with me. Some of you guys I know haven't. And that's where some of these questions are coming back and I'm going, I know we already covered this, but some of you guys might not have seen it. So if you could do me a favor, let me know the ages of your dogs. That's going to be one of your questions for this session. But then I'm going to start going through the questions that have come up prior to. Let's see. Answer, don't give your dogs chew toys. Ha ha, Zach, right. So where was the question on that one? Share it. Hopefully it shows off tonight. Hawks game was on. Yes, that was distracting. I'm not sure where the question was on that one. I see an answer. Zach Wright said, answer, don't give your dogs chew toys. I'm not sure where the question came from, but you're right, Zach. Well done. I made it. Have been torn between staying up to watch or retreating to the darkness of my room because of migraines. I apologize, April. April's having some headaches, it sounds. I did get a chance to watch your hold conditioning today. Didn't make a comment on it yet because I didn't have a chance to watch it all the way through. I will be getting caught up on those. I know you referenced a check cord as a crutch, but just wondering if I use the same approach with the recall outside as you do with Spry retrieving. We have tried food, tone, and making him chase us, but he just isn't interested. Yes, Mike, I would say that it's an option. I know Brooke Christine, I think, was talking about using a check cord. She just said, I open the door on the camera and my dog just sits there and looks at me. I call him out and just lays there. Yeah, she's got a calm dog. She needs her dog to get more life. And we talked about you doing that with Tone. But Mike, so back to your check cord. Yes, I think you can. My answer is, because your dog is so young, I really wouldn't go to it and get lazy with it. Don't go to the check cord and go lazy with it, because the second these dogs are smarter than whips. The second you take the check cord off, the dog's going to go to hell with them. Check cord's off. The habit needs to be formed. Don't make it be a tool like a check cord that gets the response. Okay? It's a habit. And the habit needs to be through repetition and consistency. My first answer is if that's all else fails. But my recommendation is change your scenario. I don't know what your scenario is that you can't get, Mike. I've got a big backyard, and my dog wanted to run off in it too. But for the few times that now, because I've started on lead, my next question to you, Mike, is where are you at with your lead training? Have you done any heel work? Because I wouldn't go to a check cord to correct a dog until they understand what the heel work process is. Where bumping to the neck means come back to me. Because then you're going and what would be a good analogy to this? If you start doing that, it's like putting the cart in front of the horse. It won't work. You have to have the groundwork to it. So if you've started on tie-outs and you've gotten good on tie-outs, because I had to do tie-outs for almost 2 weeks before I started heel, before I had confidence to heel. So if you've started your tie-outs, Mike, the dog gives the pressure to the neck. Proven that. Now you're starting heel work. Dog is responding to pressure to the neck. Then check cord, okay. But if not, don't. And so, because then you're going to turn into a dog bracing itself against pressure to the neck and fighting you and hating you on the other end of it. I don't want it. So what I would recommend is what Chris up in Michigan did. He built a pen. It was long and narrow. And that's where he exercised his dog. That's where his dog went to the bathroom. And it was somewhere that was so restraining of the freedom that it was boring. He didn't have anything else that was better than going by Chris. And so Chris has started to get the habit changed. Chris and Megan. I had to do the same thing. I worked way more on recall. So my next question, Mike, is how often are you working on recall inside? Because you don't practice recall when you take your dog out to the bathroom. You reinforce recall. The practice has to come in a very controlled situation. My recall started in the laundry room, moved to the kitchen, opened up to the house, part of the house. Then I built the wall. Then I tore the wall down. That's where recall started. That's where recall got formed. And then, by going outside, I reinforced it. But don't think that going to the bathroom 5 times a day is how you're going to train your dog to recall. Because that's not enough repetition, that's not enough consistency, and it's just the wrong setup. It's the wrong situation. There's too many distractions there. It's like me trying to place train my dog in the middle of the mall for the first time with thousands of people walking by. Wrong place to do it. You might be doing the right thing, but you're doing it in the wrong place at the wrong time. So those are questions that I have back to you. Brooke Christine with her dog coming out. Brooke's got a dog that's just got a really cool personality. I'd hang out with her dog. I like people that are cool and calm and collected. But sometimes when dogs get so flat like that, we have to boost them up. And that comes from us. So that's energy and tone out of me. I don't have a problem usually getting dogs going because I'm pretty high energy myself. Dogs usually feed off of it. I have to remind myself, calm down. Hey, it's enough. I'm in the mid-Missouri as well. Here from Tennessee. David Terry is in Tennessee. Mark and Jeannie Lockhart. Lost my lab this summer. I'm sorry to hear that, guys. Chris, I have a lot of friends in mid-Missouri. See, this is where friends develop through DogBone. Eric was in. Merrick was in. We're kind of in the same boat, Mike, but food still works for the most of the time. I gave walking the opposite direction a try, and he stood there and looked at me. Well, walking the opposite direction isn't enough, apparently. So it might be running. If you notice, guys, I run the opposite. I almost look at the dog and say, challenge you to a race. And I run. And I get excited and I get high-pitched. I do whatever I got to do. You got to find it. You got to find what it takes. Because I've done workshops where guys, hey, my dog just won't do it. My dog just won't do it. And it's because they're so uncomfortable and not confident enough to sound like a 14-year-old little girl with their voice that they can't get anything out of their dog. So I literally one time had to practice with a guy making high-pitched squeaky voices. And he hated it. And then he went right back to his deep monotone voice. And I said, man, I wouldn't party with you. You're flat. You're not very fun. Your dog doesn't want to party with you either. So, Jeff, you're willing to do it. I know you are. I've met you. You got to find, Mike, you got to find what it is that gets him to tick. I don't know what it is. Because it's not going to be always the same as Spry. Grace is going to be 12 weeks Saturday. So Mark Scott when it's in the same boat. Chris Verts joined in. Trace Taylor joined in. Fred Bolin finally able to watch live. Perfect. A little bit later than normal. The time change has me thrown off. Eric Barber is in. Eric, I think you're moving back to Wisconsin from what I saw. Aaron Garlock, my pup is passed out in my lap tonight. That's good, Aaron. Let me ask you this. Is this the pup that we have such struggles with on place? Answer me that question. Zach, yep. Still drafting my blueprints before I get my pup in July. Fingers crossed. So Zach Johnson is doing his homework. I like that. So my foundation will be as solid as it can be. Thanks everyone for offering their experiences. Perfect. That's the other thing that's nice about this. We're building a nice community. We lost our 2 dogs over the winter to old age and are getting a new lab this summer. This is helping me get a game plan. Beautiful. I love it. So this is where I probably asked about some ages on dogs. So we've got several people that are watching that don't even have dogs. That's great. On my wife's account, Matt, let's see. Zeke is always very good on the tie out, but hasn't made the connection to the neck pressure and lead for healing. Any suggestions? More of what you're doing. Patience. So he's very good on the tie-up, but hasn't made the connection to the neck pressure on the lead for healing. I'm confused by that, Mike. What do you mean? Doesn't respond when you put pressure onto the neck? Or, I'm not sure what you mean. Let me know on that. Curtis Carlson. Oh my gosh, Thor started to creep today. Ugh, the struggle, the roller coaster. Yep, I got a little creep out of this puppy. I'm going to end it real quick. I'm going to end it very sharply. Just like the foot down on the kennel, the foot down off a place. I have zero tolerance for it, and it's quickly fixed. As firm as I need to get a result. She's about to settle. Good. Good. Notice I praised her tonight for that settle. She was pretty antsy. Finally she settled. I gave her a little praise. When she was little and she first praised, I gave her praise every time. So as they get the habit formed, we don't have to pour a lot of praise on. Because what happens when they do something good for the first time? If I were always used to this big pile of praise, I can't give them any more of it. So you got to ration that. Praise when it's new until the habit is formed. When the habit is formed, just reinforce. Subtle. very soft praises. That little good was enough. First time she ever did it, I probably would have praised her more. Brent Norberg joined in. Welcome, Brent. Grit refuses to do any contact during feeding. He will sit for 5 minutes and does good. He doesn't take his eyes off the dish. When he eats, it's lightning fast, and the closer I get to the food, he scarfs it down like I'm going to take it away. Won't even chew, swallows it whole. Is this bad? I don't think it's bad. What I want to do is I want to work on that attention. So what I would do is I'd get him to sit and I'd hold on to the food. Hold it, just hold it. Don't set it down where he stares at it. Hold it. Now you're pretty important. Okay? And the connection doesn't come just from feeding. The eyes come from everything. The eyes come from the ability to recall the pup, to get the pup to sit, to get all that stuff. All the foundation stuff gets the dogs to connect to us. Brooke, have you been able to do any tie-outs? I'm wondering where you guys are on heel, because you guys aren't far off from us age-wise. So I want to know where we just started heel with this puppy about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks now. No, not quite, I guess. A week, I'd say. So our week into healing, I want to know if anyone else is to that point. Because I've seen a lot of people doing really good with feeding. And that tells me that you're following suit. You're getting that, you're starting with the foundation. Now I'm going to ask you guys that feels pretty good. Here's the thing. When you guys do something and it gets good, it feels good. It's easy to do stuff that feels good. It's hard to do stuff that isn't coming very well. That's why I'm getting to the point where I'm going, you know what? I'm not gonna, it's not an age thing. I don't think it's an age thing with this puppy's retrieve. It's just she's not real natural with it. So I let her have a little bit of time with it, and now I'm going to try to help. I'm not going to try to force. I'm not going to try to ram something down her throat. But I am going to try to help influence her and point her in the right direction. That's where that little light cord is going to come in. And I think it's going to help. Maybe it won't, but I think it's going to help. So let me ask. So I want Brooke. The eyes come from connection, trust, feel. It doesn't just come from feeding. So maybe you need to work on the eyes without the food. How are you at with recall and sits and remote sits with no food involved? You'll notice that tonight most of the stuff I did was not with food. The food came at the very end. So the lesson was no kibble. The lesson was no bowl of food. She knew there was a bowl of food on the counter because she could smell it. But the rest of it was recall, it was sit, it was remote sit. You can walk circles around them. You can start getting creative, because I hope that your dog knows how to sit and do a little remote sit and be a little steady and calm and quiet. Now it's starting to inject those skill sets into just everyday stuff. And it's not just during training times. I went for a walk the other morning and I had 15 recalls to the whistle, where the little pup got out far enough for me and I stopped and I whistled, beep, 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 and I turned and walked away from her. And she came running. And I praised her like crazy when she came to me. That had nothing to do with going to the bathroom, had nothing to do with being in the kitchen. It was the same skill set. I practiced it in a new place. So today at the shop, I let her out 3 or 4 times to go to the bathroom, and I made her sit every time before she went outside, and I made her sit before she'd come in, and I repeated things that she's learned over the last 5 or 6 weeks, but I just did it sporadically throughout the day. So that's where we really start getting things to click for dogs. These sessions are good. Where they really learn, that's to teach something new. Where they really learn and practice it is by reinforcing it all day long. Stephanie joined in. Stephanie's stuck in an airport, and I'm feeling really bad for her right now. Aaron Garlock, mine is about 3 months, but only had her a week. She loves returning a ball or deer hide. No sit, stay, come, but she doesn't listen every time. My problem with her so far is she doesn't like to walk on a leash. She's trying to post up, and she whines in the crates. What do you suggest? All right, let's back up. Let's start in the beginning. So your dog loves to retrieve the ball in the deer hide. Stop doing it. That's like the weightlifter. Or stop paying attention. Stop focusing on it. So that's another scenario where it's real easy to do what your dogs do good. And consequently, they usually get better at it. Because it's like a basketball player that's a really good shooter but can't handle the ball. And all he ever wants to do is shoot the basketball. So he practices shooting all the time and he gets really to be a good shooter. But he's useless in a game because he can't dribble the ball. don't practice what you're really good at. Practice what you're not so good at. So the first line, she loves returning a ball or deer hide. Okay. So less work on that because she knows how to do it. Knows sit, stay, and come, but she doesn't listen every time. That's what you need to work on. Because we need it to be every time. Sit, stay, come when I call you. That's the foundation to everything. So I'd say right now, that's what you need to work on, Justin. And what I would do is I would do it the way we did it. When I started out with this little puppy, I didn't work on retrieving at all. I worked on recall, I worked on sit, and then eventually I worked on remote sit. But I worked on steadiness, patience, and quiet. Be quiet. Now, back up even further. Okay, I'm going to read on in your thing, but I'm going to back up it further in my training process. My problems with her so far is she doesn't like to walk on a leash. Can't do the leash work until she ties out. So I don't know if you've done tie outs or not. Dogs got to learn to give the pressure on the neck before we ever think about tying ourselves to the other end of the leash. Because the problem with that is we're really setting up to have a negative situation with a dog, and I don't want to be associated with those negative things early on that I want them to like. So that's the first part. So we got to reverse engineer all these things. Doesn't like to walk on the leash. She tries to post up. I'm assuming when you mean post up, she locks up on you. Braces. Yeah, that's instinctive for her. You don't want to be the one she's bracing up against. The tie out gets braced against. Because the tie out never loses. The tie out never gives in. The tie out doesn't care, doesn't have feelings, doesn't care if the dog hates it. So that's where you got to back up and you got to get that first fixed. And she whines in the crate. What do you suggest? The first thing I did with this puppy was get her comfortable and understanding that the crate is not punishment. Nicole Larson is going through this right now. She's got her pup home for the very first time. She said she's just screaming and crying and fussing. The way to get through that is to make sure the dog is... First things first is housebreaking. So Nicole's starting at square one with the dog at square one. It's going to be housebreaking. Control the food, control the water, control what comes out. So now it's a routine. And it's a routine that you can also start out with your steadiness and your patience and teaching dogs to be quiet and settle. So she's going to be able to do that. I recommend, Justin, you do the same. I recommend you make them be patient, quiet, and steady before they get things. Now, your dog's a little bit bigger, so you're not going to be holding it up in its arms. This dog's 3 months old, too. It's hard for me to start doing that right now unless you're really, really strong. So instead, you'd put her on the ground. Now, steadying her up is going to be tough without a lead on the ground, potentially. Maybe not. You might be able to set her down and have her feet hit the ground. Let me show you what I mean. So Justin, I don't know, you said you've got sit, and you said you've got stay pretty good. Well, it needs to be very good. Can't just be pretty good. But, so, when it comes to steadying up for the food for you, Justin, it's real hard for you to hold on to the dog this long. Because it might take a while. I don't know how quickly the dog's going to settle. But it might take a while. So what I would do is I'd take the pup and I'd set the pup down like this. And I'd require it to stand and not move. And if it moves, I'd just pick it back up a little bit. And then set it down, pick it up, set it down, pick it up, set it down, pick it up. Go a couple weeks into our videos, and that's what I did with her. To go from in my arms to this. Okay? So I'd do that. That's got to get done. I'll put her back. Then the whining in the crate. Here's how I addressed the crate thing. Nicole, you could listen to this too. So I had a lot of success doing something differently this year with the pup. So what I did was I took a little penned in area. I'll put it back on the pup. There's a nice settle. What I did was I took a little penned in area, and you guys can see that. Go back and look. Early February is when I was doing it. I had this little plastic fenced in area, and I had that little kennel that she still sleeps in, and I put it in there, and I made sure that the door would stay open, and then I put the puppy in there, and I actually put a pillow in there to start out with. I put it inside the kennel, and the little puppy had about 6 square feet outside of the kennel that it could walk around in. Now you gotta be careful because she's gonna pee there. He's gonna pee there if you let him. So this is where your crate training's gotta start, and your house breaking. So you gotta get the dog outside. Dog go to the bathroom. When it comes back in, I put it into that penned-in area, and I just let her fuss and fight and whine. And she wanted to get out of there so darn bad. And finally, when they're 7 weeks old, they get tired. So Nicole, your dog's gonna get tired just growing. It will wear itself out, and that's what you have to wait for. But as soon as that little puppy gets tired, which happens usually pretty quickly, the door is open and it's nice and soft inside the kennel. So what's the pup going to do? It's going to curl right up in there and fall asleep. Beautiful. Now, the second that pup gets up and comes out of the crate, it's going to pee. So get there. Be there. Get the pup out. Take it outside. Let it go to the bathroom. Bring it back in. Put it back in the penned-in area. Now, all of a sudden, the pup's going to get rambunctious again. I don't want to be in here. Fuss, fight, whine. If you go over there and pay any attention to it, tell it no, tell it shut up, let it out, anything like that. If you do any of that stuff, that pup is going to fight and fuss and whine and bark and cry that much harder. Justin, if your dog is whining, fussing, and crying in the kennel, and you, what the heck's going on? It looks like your leg. Hey, what do you got going on? Her leg looks so funny. I thought she had extra legs. Justin, if your dog whines and barks and howls in that kennel to the point where you just can't stand it, and you go let him out, that's like putting gasoline out with a gallon of gas, or putting fire out with a gallon of gasoline. It's just going to get the dog to whine and fuss and cry that much harder next time. Same with inside that little fenced-in area. Same within your arms or setting up to feed it. So what you have to do is, it's a test of will. Who will outlast the other? And as long as you win these battles, things are going to go really easy for you. But that idea of having that crate open in a little fenced-in area where the pup can go in and sleep in the crate, all of a sudden it's not a punishment anymore. It's a safe place. It's a nice place. It's a warm place. It's soft. It's all this good stuff. So I did that for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. And I let the puppy sleep in there on its own. Now at night, I'd close the gate. I'd let the pup go in there and I'd close the gate. And they'd whine and fuss a little bit, but they already had started to program themselves that that's a pretty good place. They didn't whine and fuss nearly as much as they did when I just shove them in a crate and close the door. That's now, can you do that? Yes, you can. But they're going to whine, they're going to fuss, and they're going to scream. So you can't give in to it. You have to make sure that you don't give in. Now you also have to make sure that they're not whining and fussing because they got to go to the bathroom. So I usually give them one shot to cry wolf. They whine and fuss, I let them out. If they pee, I put them back in. I wait a little bit. If they whine and fuss and never settle down, I let them back out. If they pee, I put them back in. If they whine and fuss and cry and I let them out and they don't pee, I put them back in and I don't let them out until they fall asleep after that. So they might whine and fuss and cry, but eventually they're going to shut up, fall asleep, and then when they get back up, then I let them out and they go to the bathroom. So I give them one chance to cry wolf. After that, I know it's not bathroom that's causing the problem. It's just them not being settled. So that's the process I would start with that. Girl Spry, I'm late. What did I miss? Are you adding any scent to those bumpers yet? No, Trace. No reason to. I'm just trying to get her to pick them up. James Lewis joined in. James, you were late too. No problem. That's the beauty of Facebook. You can always go back. Just ordered a slip collar, hoping it helps with some corrections. Aaron, we're going to talk. Because, yeah, totally. It can. Your dog's pretty little yet, Aaron. How old is your dog? The problem with your dog, I don't think right now, is the lack of, it's a lack of, it's not a lack of the simulated bite to the neck when it comes to it. It's just a lack of respect, I think is the best way to put it. So, Aaron, I asked a question to you earlier. I'm going to hopefully get to it here. I'm sure you answered it. Wanted to know how old the dog was, and I wanted to know if that was the dog that you said was sleeping on your lap right now. Because when I get to that answer, we'll have something to talk about. How do you show them you are dominant, Justin? All sorts of ways. Simple little things like staring contests. Never lose a staring contest with that dog. The dominant one is going to be able to outstare the subordinate. The one who looks away it's just like people. It's reading body language. If you stare at someone and they look away, they submitted. Okay? I need dogs to do that. There's little things that I can do right now while I'm sitting here talking to you guys, and you might be watching TV at night, and your pup's laying on its place. And you take your feet and you simply put it up on top. See what she does? Nothing. In fact, she wants to roll over. Submission. I'm sorry, I don't like that. I don't want dogs rolling on their bellies, on their backs, looking for belly rubs, and I don't want that. So I stop giving her any attention when she does that. See that? It's an escape mechanism. She's going, oh, I give up. I give up. There's nothing I can do from a dog that's on its back. So I don't want him doing that. But if you'll notice, she didn't squirt out from under me. Try it with your dog. If your dog's laying at your feet, you put your feet on it, and the dog squeaks out of there, squirms out of there, doesn't allow you to put their foot on him. Now Taylor goes, I'm okay. If your dog refuses to have you put your feet on it, and they go and they scoot over to the other side and go, nope, they're just telling you, not a chance. Well, the leader puts their paws up on the other ones. So when little puppies decide that they want to jump up and put their feet on you, it's a sign of them testing the dominance. So at night, I can do the opposite. I can put my feet on top of them. You can eat in front of them. Leaders always eat first, Justin. Now, if this puppy wanted to test me, she'd bite at me right now. She submits. I don't like that back thing, so I back away from it. You can eat in front of them, Justin. Feeding them, being able to pick the food up from them without having any type of sign of aggression or them bucking it, that's dominance. There's all sorts of ways. Leaders go through the door first. That's why I'm changing this pattern of her going through the door before me. I'm going through first. Leaders go first. So all sorts of ways. Pack, just establishing a pack. Jamie was in, April's in. Spry is a pup, one step forward and one step sideways. And then a lot of times we take a couple steps back. Whenever we run into issues, guys, I'm going to recommend taking a couple steps back. I know it sounds counterproductive, but when it comes to dogs, a lot of people have the mentality of just forge forward, just keep going. I tell people, I always used to talk about running through that brick wall with head first. Well, take a step back and look to the side, and you might have a doorway to go through. Don't just try to ram through stuff with dogs. Sudden change from bumper this morning to antler tonight as well. Yeah, it was. I was hoping that she'd pick that antler up, and the reason I was hoping it was because that's the only thing I've had success with her making retrieves with prior to. So I kind of thought maybe that would be the answer. Problem was it got caught up in the rope. Impressive healing. She did a nice job tonight. Gracie will sit on command, but if it isn't feeding time, she doesn't hold it very well. I've got the puppy video in order. I'm hoping that will help. It will, Mark. It's time to slowly extend it. If you can get 3 seconds out of her, try to get 4. Don't go from 3 seconds to 30. Might be too much. Baby steps. Awesome healing. We have a long ways to go to get there. Awesome healing. We have a long ways to go to get there. Oh, we all do, Mike. We all do. Bruce picking up on the heel quick. That's good. Loose lead, wagging tail, and the eyes the whole time. Yeah, she did phenomenal with heel work tonight. So I got to be happy about that. Nicole joined in. Nicole, we've been talking about you. I hope you were in for some of this stuff. I missed it. Dog had to go out and won't come back in again. Oh boy. Set yourself up for success, Fred. When we talked about it with Mike, that's not the time to practice it. We want to practice it in between and reinforce it out there. She is a creeper, so we're going to start stopping the creeping. I'll show you guys how to do that. How do you get her eyes to stay on you? It's that dominance thing, Justin. A lot of questions, no problem. That's the reason. Justin is going to become better from watching this. I can tell. Justin, we're going to get you through this. I promise you. We're with you. What food do you feed? Right now we're feeding a neutral, grain-free. How much water per cup of food? Carson, good question. I'm glad you asked it. We're going to start changing your thought process when it comes to training. So, Carson, I'm totally generalizing and painting you with a brush. But hey, that's my job to read people, right? But so here's an analogy for you. Dog training is like cooking, not like baking. Carson, my feeling after reading that is you would make a good baker. I'm not a good baker. Bakers take precision. They take measurements. They take precise steps. You have to follow certain things in order to have success whenever you're making. Cooking doesn't. Cooking you season to taste. Cooking you can be short one ingredient, but you make up with another. It's not like it's a process that takes exact, precise steps to get through. So the answer, the reason I bring it up is how much water per cup of food? Who cares? And I'm not saying you should know that, Carson, but my answer is honestly, who cares? Doesn't matter. It might take a little bit of water today and I might put more in today than tomorrow. I don't know how much I feed them. They dictate how much they eat. So I kind of gotta get the confidence And this is what we're going to try to get you, Carson, is the confidence to get a feel for doing this. And how do you get that feel? By asking questions like that. So, great question. It doesn't matter how much. I usually put enough water in to make the food float. I don't know what the ratio is. But if I don't put as much in this time or I put a little more in next time, it won't matter. Those things won't matter. So that's the easy answer is I just float the food. But the bigger, that's like the micro question. The macro question is, the macro that I'm getting out of this is, don't worry about the tiny, tiny little specifics when it comes to a lot of this stuff. You can generalize a lot of this stuff. Now, then there's going to be points where I talk about being very precise. With older dogs, I talk about having their feet right down to like controlling each individual foot. We're not there yet, though. And that comes at a whole nother level. So I know that your question was really simple, but I want you to kind of change the mindset in general when it comes to training stuff, this training stuff. Trevor Barrett joined. Carson, enough water to make the food float. If I read down one more, you see it? My pack's got my back. And Carson, thank you for asking that, because it's been asked already. I had a couple people for a couple days in a row want to know how much food I was feeding. And I think they were asking me that because they wanted to know how much food they should be feeding their dog. My answer of how much I'm feeding my dog is not how much they should be feeding their dog. A lot of people have, I had a person ask me to write out a calendar with every day spelling out what they should do with their dog. And they said, that way I won't miss a thing. I'll be able to follow it every day for a year, and I should have a dog that turns out just like yours. No, it won't happen that way. So I'm going to give you, my hope, Carson, is to give you the confidence to be able to get these answers and think on these answers on your own to the point where you go, you know what? I feel pretty comfortable with the idea in general of the direction we're going. And today we're going to add a little bit more because yesterday she didn't chew it up quick enough. Or I feel like she's a little dehydrated, so I'm going to put a little more water in, which is going to help with that. We'll get you there. Agreed. Type of food and amount of water. There you go. Steven's in the same boat. So these are new folks. I can tell they're new because the mindset is going to change it with you guys. We're going to change your mindset, and it is not by force. It's just you're going to start thinking the way we think, and that's how we need. So I don't think the same when I start thinking about dog training. I don't think the same as I do product development. When I'm trying to develop a new product, I have to pay attention to all these little specific, precise details. That's my job when it comes to the business end of things. This is my job when it comes to the dog end of things, and I have to be on polar opposite ends of my mindset. I have to come up. So we're gonna get you guys there. And Jeff answered, and Carson thanked him. We got a good pack. I use water to slow my dog down, otherwise she eats fast and gets sick. So that's another reason that it could be helpful. How old is Spry now? Spry will be 14 weeks on Friday. Vicky Rayburn, hey. She's 13 weeks. Jen's got my back. Great part of live training is the corrections and how you avoid issues. I agree, Wayne. I think that's a big part of the value in it. How many cups a day of food? Oh boy. Doesn't matter, Dusty. It depends. So the answer to that is, with these puppies, you feed them as much as they can eat in a sitting. So my period of time, I gauge that the first couple of weeks when the puppy comes. So Nicole Larson's got a 7-week-old pup, and I'm going to get through here and I'm going to try to find out if anyone else has little pups. I'm getting into some of those ages, so I'm scrolling through real quick. Craig Brown's got 9 weeks, 11 weeks. I'm trying to find another puppy. Who else has a little puppy? 9 months. So we got some older dogs in here too, which is interesting. It's why I needed to ask this. So let me go back to where that question was. Let's see. How many cups of food? Dusty asked it. So Dusty, with little puppies. Now I'm hoping Nicole's on still. Nicole has a 7-week-old puppy. I don't know how much her dog should eat. A lot of people say, well, look at the back of the bag. It tells you how much the bag doesn't know your dog.
It doesn't know how much your dog's going to eat. It doesn't know how much your dog needs to eat. So the way I judge it is the first couple days, and this is another thing for you if you have really little puppies. Nicole's going to go through it. Nicole's going to want to get right into training, and I'm going to tell her for the first day or two, just get the dog settled in. Because I have sometimes when I bring dogs in, even when we travel with them, they might stop eating. They might not eat because they're so unsettled. Well, this little puppy just left its pack and came into yours, and it's a major uprooting for it. So it may be so thrown off it might not eat well for a couple days. It might take a while just to settle in. So you don't know how much the dog's going to eat. This is the way I test it out. About a handful with a little puppy, and I soak it. And then I feed it, and I give them about 10 minutes to eat. And I don't make them sit yet. I don't make them settle yet. The first couple days, I just put the food in the pen with them, and I let them eat, and I watch. And I see how quickly they eat it. And if they eat it all, I know next time I got to put a little more in there. If they don't eat it all, I realize I can put a little less in. So that's how I'm going to gauge it for the first couple days. Now, it might change over the first couple days because they might be so unsettled they don't eat well, and then they start getting hungry and they start settling in and they go, I'm going to eat a little bit more. So by the end of the first week, you should know about how much your dog can eat in a sitting. And my sitting is about 10 minutes. I might give them a little bit more. But as soon as they check out of it, if they eat, and they eat it all, I better put more in it. If they eat, and then they stop, and they go and do something else or have no interest in the food anymore, then pick it up and take it away. Don't leave it in there. Because the habit that will form is they'll eat 3 or 4 bites, and then they'll go do something else. Because they'll come back and eat 3 or 4 bites, and then they turn into grazers. I don't want a grazer. I want an eater. So the idea of how many cups of food will be determined by your dog. Now, Taylor is bigger and bulkier than Ellie, and now she just had pups. So we're slowly getting her back into shape and getting her fit, and I've cut back on her food. She eats less food than Ellie does. But it's because Ellie is younger, I think, and works a little bit more and is a little more active, burns more calories. So I give her a little bit more. And I gauge their level of how much food I give them based on the way they look, the way they feel. I don't want dogs to be heavy. I don't want dogs to be skinny rails either. So I base the food on how are they looking physically to me. So I don't think you look at the back of the bag to tell you how much food your dog should eat. Let's see. Will this work for an older dog? No doubt about it, Mark and Jeannie. Dog training principles work regardless of age. You could take. I've had dogs that have never been on heel before, and I've worked with them, and they may even give the pressure to the neck, but no one's ever healed them properly. And I've taken dogs that are a couple years old and don't know how to heel, and drag their owners all around the block, like they take the people for a walk. And I've spent 10 minutes with them, and all of a sudden the dog figures out real quick how to give the pressure to the neck, get into heel zone, get a little bit of praise. You can change habits that are in old dogs. The thing you got to understand is there's a lot of habits there that might take a while to train. There's no speed training dogs, so it might take a while. At any age, not too old to train. Same answer. No, I don't think so. What you have to be is realistic, and you have to understand that older dogs have a lot more time that habits have been formed and entrenched in them, and it takes a long time to reverse bad habits. That's why when they're little, I like to form good ones and avoid the bad ones. It's just simple, basic strategy. Avoid bad habits, imprint good ones. Boy, it makes life a whole lot easier. Now, you got a dog that has a whole bunch of bad habits. Can you fix it? Yes. It will take longer. It will take more consistency. It will take more repetition, but you certainly can do it. 17 weeks. So I'm going to go through these. I'm going to look at the ages in a little bit. New pup Ava's 7 weeks now, so Kelly's got a really little one. So Kelly's in on that conversation when we first talked about the feeding, and we talked about the settling in and all that stuff. Getting a yellow lab 8 weeks old on the 21st, so you guys are right around the corner. So I'm going to read these ages and kind of study this in a little bit. Brooke, your dog's even older than mine. So wondering on where you guys are at with the progression. So we got some ages. Thank you for answering the age question, guys. I must say she is great. She is a great, well-behaved dog. This works. Thank you, Vicky. Correction, Scotty will be 5 months. Carson's getting a new pup this summer. I'm sorry for your loss last year. Okay, still going through some ages here. Trying to talk Jeremy into a Central Illinois workshop. Boy, I tell you what, a lot of places would like to have. I'd love to do them in a lot of places. It's scheduling that gets hard. I'm gonna go back through these ages. Sounds good. So Mike is responding. Sounds good. That all makes sense. Wasn't sure how many 2 issues correlated. Wasn't sure how my 2 issues correlated. He's pretty good inside with recall, but we'll work on it. Sounds like another challenge. Damn right it is. How do you calm a dog down if they're high energy? Kenzie, it's changing their culture and having them realize it's unacceptable. Part of it might come from how an easy way of doing it is you need to be calm. I get so worked up sometimes, and then all of a sudden I look and my dogs are worked up. And when I get cool and calm, I don't know if it was this morning, I think I was pretty cool and calm. Just felt really good this morning when we did our session, and I was pretty laid back, and I wasn't real tense, and I wasn't real stressed, and it was probably one of the better sessions we've had. I don't think that's a coincidence. So they feed off of our energy. They feed off of how our mindset and stability is. So that's part of it. So if you're high strung and wired, and I think it was Mike Stewart described it once to me that he was talking to a group, and he said a fractured life leads to a fractured dog. A fractured schedule leads to a fractured dog because they look for stability. So we have to provide that for them. I like to work opposites. I'm looking for balance in training. So if I got a dog that wants to work really fast, we work very slow. You'll see that more, Kenzie, when we get going on our heel work. You can go back and look in the last week with Spry here. She was lagging behind, so I sped up. And I got a little more tone in my voice, and I got a little energy, and I wanted to speed her up. So she wanted to go slow, so I went fast. If your dog wants to go fast, you go slow. I'll heel a dog that wants to go really fast at a snail's pace, because they're just going to have to realize they don't set the tempo I do. So that's how I counter high energy, is with extreme control and slowing things down. Because if the dog is high energy and you're high energy and you combine the two, you're warp speed. Like it gets out of control. So slow things down with dogs that want to work fast. How long does Spry stay in the crate at night without taking her out? She gets up. It's funny because I'd say like every other night or every third night, she's like an alarm clock at 2 o'clock. She's going out to the bathroom at 2 o'clock. She's right back in. She goes back to bed. And then she's 6 o'clock on the head. So the nights that she doesn't get up at 2, she sleeps right through till 6. But she will not sleep past 6:01. Sometimes I wake her up. If I got to get up early, I get her up. But never will I sleep past 6 o'clock because she's up at 6, like an alarm clock. Allison Castrava joined in. At work, got into late watching these videos. Can't wait to start raising my pup. So Zach's gonna be getting one. Oh boy, gotta get the running shoes out now. Aaron Garlock, yes. So I think that answer is to the question of she's got a pup sleeping on top of her lap right now. Aaron, that might be part of your problem. I wouldn't recommend having that dog sleep on top of you, because that tells me that she is the boss. These are fundamental structural things that I think you might have issues with. Don't let that dog sleep on you. Put that dog down on the ground and get it so that you can put your feet on top of it. You sleep on top of it. That is going to help you immensely with some of the issues you're having. You don't let that dog do stuff like that. Okay? So try doing some of these little things. We're going to talk with Aaron this week. I got to see. I threw it out there this morning, Aaron. I'm contemplating the idea of having you call in. Let me know if you're game for it. Been watching the last few live sessions. Seen Jeremy 3 years ago in Omaha. That was a long time ago. I do remember that Deer Classic, I think, or it might have been a Whitetails Unlimited. Thought he did an amazing job with the Yellow Lab shortly after and used his program and Get compliments all the time to this day. Now raising her second litter and refer all buyers to his videos. Sorry for the long post. Don't be sorry, Clint. I love hearing that. Thank you. Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska. That was a while ago. It was either at a Deer Classic or a Whitetails Unlimited dinner. Not sure which. Mark, I'm definitely in on a workshop in Illinois. Did she start out in a kennel? Mine's freaking out still. Yes, mine did. Mine started out in a kennel. Nicole, I hope you heard us talking about how I do it with the little pen. I had a lot more success. I normally just put them in the kennel and I ride the wave. I make sure that, one thing you can do is you can cover the kennel, put something over it, darken it up in there. That helps. If they absolutely cannot stand it, and if you can't stand it for an hour, guys, then I'm going to tell you need to work on your patience. Okay? Because if you can't stand an hour of a dog crying, you're in for a world of hurt. Patience, 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 and then more patience. But if it goes on 3 hours, 4 hours, first off, that little puppy won't last that long. It's going to get tired. It's going to get tired and worn out, and eventually it's just going to fall asleep. But if it gets to the point where this goes on for hours and hours and hours, and it has an incredible will to cry and whine, then put it in a different room. But you cannot let that pup out, and you cannot give it attention, or it's going to be pouring gas on the fire. So, but I really had success, Nicole, with that little pen area and leaving the door open. And the dog cried and whined in the pen area just as much as it would in the kennel. But what I found was its retreat was to go into the kennel willingly and fall asleep. And then when I did transfer it over to putting it in the pen, or in the kennel, and not the pen, I took the pen away, the kennel went really smooth. A little bit of crying, a little bit of whining, but not much. Kazanic joined in. Duke is a bloodhound, 15 weeks. Doug's got just started to heal. Good, Christine. That's going to be good. You need to. You should be. On the tie out, he settles very quickly, but on the lead, he either acts like an anchor or tugboat. I know it's a trainer thing, just not sure what to do other than more tie out. So yeah, you gotta keep doing tie out. If he does good on the tie out and doesn't pull, Mike, then he understands the neck. Now he's just, I don't know why, he's testing you. So if he acts like an anchor or a tugboat, when you say an anchor, he digs in, and when he's a tugboat, he's pulling. So if he's anchoring, you give it a good enough snap that it gets him to move forward, and as soon as he moves forward, the pressure comes off, and encourage him. Like you can't be a stiff. You have to be a little animated. You gotta have some character. You gotta give the dog a reason to want to do something for you. So it's not a fear tactic at this point. So you saw me when my pup lagged behind, I encouraged it. Tap my thigh, reach down, come on. Good girl, come on. Encourage it to come to you. And when it does, praise. Lots of it. And then stop, and then do it again. And then stop, and then do it again. If it goes and takes off on you and runs, I want you to 180, turn 180 degrees and go the other way and start getting it to you that way. Because he's going to go, wow, I'm not running out so far. Because as soon as I get out here, he goes the opposite direction and he catches me. But it has to be very sharp and quick. The pressure's got to go on and then off. Oh, Steph's still in the... I'll sit to the whistle, says Steph. Stuck in the Detroit airport. Ooh. Can you use this training for 10-month-old pup? Yes. Puppies, I called puppies until they're 2 years old. 2 years and less, puppies. They look like dogs, but they're like puppies. They are puppies. Trying to heel, but she is still trying to pull. She will retrieve the hand great after the hallway work, but heel is scary. How is she done on tie-outs, Brett? That's a big indicator of the heel work. If a dog is pulling out in front of you and you put pressure to the neck, she should give. If she's not giving, then put her back on tie out and let her figure it out. But so my question is how's that sequencing going? Where do you get the dog bed? I bet you somebody answered it. So yep, dog100.com under apparel and gear. Sits are great. Hubby does the heel work so far. Very good. As long as we're consistent. I think I need to watch older ones and start from square one. Justin, you're getting it. I couldn't have explained it any better. Like, people always want to ask. Now, I heard this from a horse trainer, so I wish I could take credit for it, but there's very few things out there that haven't been said that are good. So I'm repeating a lot of things that I've heard over the years that have worked for me, guys. I don't invent this stuff. It's 2017. Hardly anything gets invented anymore. It just gets improved on. It gets relayed. But so this old horse trainer, and he said, people always want to know, when do I go from square one to square two? And then from square two to square... How do I know when it's time to move from square one to square two to square three, on and on and on and on? How do I know when it's time? This goes back to that timing thing. There is no time. It doesn't matter. But back to this idea of, how do I go from square one to square two to square three, get to the end? A to Z, A to B, B to C, C to D, whatever, however you want to describe it. I like using the alphabet. Squares and numbers are good too. But the answer that old horse trainer said is you don't. You don't go from square one to square two. You pick up square one and you go to square two with square one. And then you pick up square one and square two and you move to square three. And then you might go back to square two and you bring square three with. If you've got anything in square three, you bring it back with. So it's fluid and it comes and goes with you. So if you're Justin and your dog is 3.5 months old and you're looking at Spry and going, I want to get into there. I think we're in square 6 right now. So you're trying to get into square 6 without square 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Not only do you have to get square 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you have to pick them up and bring them with you. I've got a pocket full of squares right now with some of these dogs. And I got to figure out how to keep picking them up and moving to the next. Picking up and moving to the next. Recognizing the problem and going back. So by you saying that, Justin, says to me a lot. You're getting it. Matt Taney joined in. What's the name of your dog? This dog is Spry. Derek, you're looking at Spry. Oh, thank goodness. Nicole says, I'll have to start that tomorrow. He's still going, this is hard. Nicole, the first night back, I wouldn't worry about steadying up for feeding. I wouldn't worry about any of that stuff. It's simply getting the dog to understand that this place is okay. Imagine Nicole's got a baby. Imagine if the baby who has known you, I don't know how old your baby is, Nicole. It's a couple months maybe. Imagine everything that your baby knows right now is you and Brent and your family and your house and its bed and all that stuff. Imagine if you took that baby and just, someone came and got it and brought it home. Do you think that baby would just slide right in like it was no problem? No, it'd be completely uprooted. It would take a while for it to get accustomed to the new people, the new sounds, the new smells, the new tastes, the new everything. That's where your puppy is right now. So you got this little orphan that's coming home for the very first time. Just get him to feel safe. Little puppies, I'll be honest with you, I'm not against the idea of sleeping with a little puppy the first night or two. Because now all of a sudden it's part of your pack. I do not recommend doing it beyond that. Because then all of a sudden it's testing and all of a sudden it's proving that it's more dominant than you. So slippery slope. But I'm not against the idea of bringing a puppy in and settling them in. Getting them settled into the new spot. Hang on, Nicole, it's a wild one, no doubt. 19 weeks. Aaron Garlock, 19 weeks. Not laying on your lap, I hope. Gotta end that stuff. I'm looking at getting a pup. Can you refer a good kennel near Marquette, Michigan? Willing to travel. Ryan, I recommend the kennel that I get these dogs from is from Oxford, Mississippi. It's called Wild Rose Kennels. I've bought dogs from them for about 14 years. I talked to a guy tonight about it for a long, long time. I don't recommend a lot of kennels because I don't have a lot of experience with a lot of kennels. I'm not saying there aren't good ones out there. The problem is I don't want to recommend it to someone and have there be an issue because it doesn't. I'm not gonna. I don't want to recommend stuff that I'm not comfortable with or have an understanding. Doesn't mean that there aren't good ones out there. It's that I don't know anything about them, so I don't want to stick my neck out too far. Wild Rose, I will say this: I bought dogs from for 14 years, going on 15. The reason I have is because they're some of the finest genetics I've found. They really fit my training style. They really fit what we do with them. So that is what, as far as I go kind of with. What I will say is this. Talk to as many kennels as you can and get a feel for what they're doing, why they're doing it. Go see their dogs. Go see their facilities. Dig into it. Do your homework. Because I think I think you probably have options that are closer to Mississippi, but my feeling with that stuff is genetics and breeding is an art, and if it isn't broke, I'm not going to fix it. So, good night. It is getting late. Had to leave. Let's see. We're getting close to the end here. Year and a half-ish. So I guess I got some warm water can help bring the flavor out. I know you're not a baker, but I bet you like your food warmed up. Well done, Zach. Well played. Angie joined in. What is the distance you like your shed dogs to work? I prefer 25 to 35 yards max. It's because I use the same dogs to do upland and gun dogs and tracking, and so this one here is a therapy dog, certified therapy dog. So for me, I like 25 to 35 yards because it's gun range. So when I go upland hunting, I'm in gun range. Good night. Getting late for me. I don't blame you, Aaron. I will message you the answers to your questions. Thank you. I drove Aaron out. Aaron, I know you're tough. I know you got thick skin. That's why we're going to make you better at this. So we will talk. We're going to get you there. How's your daylight savings? Screwing me up. So it was at the deer class that Clint saw me. We were able to see the vid of Jack's heel. I haven't seen it. I will look, though. Thanks for the time. Great session. Have to take out Thor. It's bedtime. I think everyone's saying the same thing. Thanks for your time, you guys. Great session tonight. Got late. I realize that. Do you still sell pups when you have them on your site? Do you still sell pups when you have them on your site? I don't sell pups, Hunter. We do sell some trained dogs. Right now, I've got about a 3-year waiting list. So that's it for tonight, guys. Good session. I probably went a little long on it. It's because I don't have any family home tonight, and you guys are my pack. You're my family for the night. So hang in there. We're going to get through some of these things. I'm going to start challenging, because we're going to start moving into some new stuff with Spry, and it's going to start challenging everyone to start pushing their limits a little bit as well. I will study the ages of the dogs. It will help me a lot with understanding where the group is. But we'll get there. The beauty of this thing is I don't care when we get there, as long as we get there. So we're not in a rush. We're not in a race. We'll get there. So you guys have a great night. We'll talk with you again tomorrow. Can't wait. You've got a new regular. Great, Carson. Appreciate that. You guys take care. We'll talk soon.